So what I'm going to share with you is some quick warm-up moves that I tend to do in terms of getting my students ready, in terms of getting myself ready. Some simple warm-up moves in terms of getting myself ready for footwork, and a couple simple stretches that you can do yourself. Because, like I said, even though this is dancing, it's probably one of the most athletic dances there is. So the way I treat it is like a sport. I warm up, I stretch before going in, because like I said, this dance can be pretty demanding towards the body, especially if you've never done it before. So the first thing that I always do before I do any dancing or do any stretching is I do a simple warm-up. What I do is pretty much start doing hops, because this is a lot of this dancing, or in terms of how I was trained, is that I start off with my feet, and being able to move like this allows me to move quicker. So notice I'm staying on my toes, getting that part of the body warmed up. So notice I'm not sort of slamming my heels into it. This is sort of to help condition you, especially when you start doing your moves or the top rocks and everything else, to start be able to move quicker. Because if you add the extra heel down, it's like a half second that can potentially slow you down. And personally, for me, I like being able to move quickly. So you notice I'm on my tiptoes a lot. Boom, boom, boom. So anyways, on that part, so another warm-up move is I like doing switches. Okay, just to get that rhythm. And I generally do this with music. Okay, and once I go back here, I go back to sides, and I like actually giving it a little rhythm. So if you're listening to music, I go 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's a simple warm-up. You can add other things too, like simple butt kickers to get the calves going, high knees to get the hips going. Okay, keep the arms active. Those are a couple of simple stretches. And of course, when it comes to b-boying or just dancing in general, because I personally think that stretching is one of the most important things, whether you're doing any sort of sport or dance. So one of the stretches, I'm not going to go through an entire stretch routine, but a couple of my favorites are wide leg stretch, get the hamstrings going. Then I focus on each one on the right side and on the left side, and I like doing this. I call this the spider stretch for my kids. So what I do is I turn my feet out, bring my butt down as low as I can. I bring my elbows behind the knees. Okay, and I'm pushing my hip out, opening up the hips. Okay, and I isolate it. So I push one side, and then I switch to the other side, and then come back up. And you can bring my feet together. This is a very quick stretch. There's a whole bunch of stretches that you can do. Okay, and I come nice and slow. Triceps, especially since you're going to be activating a lot through footwork. Other side, and grab the back. Okay, so these are super, just really breezing through this. I suggest that you do at least 30 seconds of each stretch. Okay, and other more floor work type of warm-ups is getting this sort of to get your balance going, because this is generally going to be your position when you start doing footworks a little later in the videos, in the course. So you're going to be coming from this sort of position. You want your heels to comfortably, you want your butt to comfortably sit on your heels. So you don't want to be doing this into a super low squat, but you want to be into, anyways, now getting into warming up your knees, your lower body in terms of getting ready for footwork. This is a very important warm-up that you want to do. Your heels, when you go down to this squat position, you want to make sure your butt is sitting comfortably on your heels. You don't want to come into this super low squat position. You want to come up here, because you're going to, that way you can easily do sort of things like getting into hooks. That way, again, this allows you to move a lot quicker. And one way you're going to be doing a lot of balance and weight shifting a lot. So one thing that you want to be able to do is do this sort of this simple, this really easy balance exercise that I do with all my students when they're first starting out, is that they do sort of this weight shifting. So they reach not so much right behind or out here, but almost like the diagonal of your shoe, and I sort of push my hip up, or drive my knees down, and then come back up to the squat position. Drive my knees down, reach for that, I guess, lower left diagonal, and down. That way you start getting used to this sort of weight shifting. And you see my hands, this is generally how I've been trained. So I have my hands constantly doing something. Okay, and you'll notice hand positioning as well. in terms of your hands, you can either go whole hand. This is perfectly fine if you're first starting. In terms of ideal extra height, in terms of moving faster, same thing with the tip, like you do your tiptoes. You want to try to bring it up here. So this is something optional that you can do. This is something I wasn't exactly comfortable when I first started, but what I did is I stretched like this every single day, doing like this on every possible surface that I can just be on, like on my desk in college, doing this just to really stretch it out, so that way I can have the extra height. Because here again, like I said, like how we're doing the extra boom boom sort of idea, dancing up top, is sort of the same thing here, because we're really just making it a lot harder for us to get up compared to here, where it's already halfway, the job's already halfway done. All you gotta do is boom, compared to doing like that. Okay, so that's one way. That's another thing in terms of hand positioning and warming up your body in terms of balance. Now getting your feet a little stronger. So if you can't sit like this in a long time, just get up and shake it out. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So in terms of getting your feet stronger in terms of your dancing, I do simple Russian drills. So pretty much, if you don't know what Russians are, like the whole like sort of thing. Anyways, one way to start building your strength in terms of that is simply stick one foot out. You can use your hands if you want to. Okay, one hand, one foot out at a time. So you can start seeing, like, so you didn't lost my balance there. In, so other foot, in, out, sorry, in, out, in. Then you can start progressing into one leg at a time. Okay, and then you can start progressing it into sort of kick switches. Okay, then you can start speeding it up. Okay, because the better you have in terms of moving around like that, it's actually going to help support you in terms of your feet being able to move around quicker. And the better you have balance of here, the better you can catch yourself in your moves. So I hope that makes sense. Use these warm-ups, especially before you do any of the dancing. That's important. I don't want you getting hurt in the middle of learning all this course, because that means I hurt you, and I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. Anyways, next video. Now we're going to start on the next moves.